Well, they'll have a few extra days to install the smoke detectors. Global supply chain issues are delaying the completion of the Lake City Fire Station.
However, firefighters say the delay may be a good thing. TV20's Lali Salache tells us why residents are eagerly awaiting the new station.
More response teams to be able to go out and quicker responses on this side of town.
Lake City Fire Station 2 was scheduled to be completed by Tuesday, but got pushed back because of supply chain issues. Officials say electrical panels did not arrive on time.
We were picking out designs that there were things that would take a little bit longer if we picked this or that. So I'm not totally shocked that the electrical panel is holding it up. I know that's a key component for, opening any building.
Firefighters say the delay may help out because they can train incoming firefighters a little longer.
I'm excited for the community in general, for people that are going to have a need and then be able to have response quickly, and then for our guys that are going to be working day in and day out tirelessly for us. I know they're excited too. So a lot of cool things with the station in particular.
Fire officials say the new $2.7 million station in Lake City will bring the opportunity for more and quicker services in the east and west side of town.
It's been cool to see it every Wednesday through the progressions because we're here every Wednesday night, so it's been cool to see them kind of come along with the progress. And then for Lake City to be able to have two, it is a smaller community, but it spans a big area.
Officials tell TV20 the new station could reduce homeowners' insurance rates.
Insurance companies look for how far you live from a fire station and a fire hydrant and several other factors. And a fire station being built on the west side of town would help with the location and the proximity to those houses and businesses to the fire station.
Officials are expecting the new station to be finished in about 2 weeks. In Lake City's Lali Solache, TV20 News.